Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. That was a complete kind of nightmare start to a Monday, even though I gave it obviously lots of time to test things out. So I am going to, uh, there we go, hopefully show you my slides. Okay, good morning. My name's Chris Pond. Apologies for that. And thank you for your patience. We're going to talk about supercharging your project delivery with Project for the Web. And I always like to start with the slide which really talks about what's going to happen after this session. It kind of combines the agenda as well, but we're going to talk about what it means to have a project, run a project, what defines a project. We're going to talk about managing our work on a day-to-day basis, because if I think about a project, it's just a collection of tasks at its very kind of heart. In terms of what we're looking to do in terms of tooling, obviously projects themselves are much broader than that. We will talk about the technology options, and we will also look at the technology, of course, as well. And then we'll talk about some next steps as we go through today in the GoToWebinar app. You can ask questions, and there's a chat as well, and we will either come to those as we go through, or we will talk about them at the end. So yeah, thank you very much for spending your time with me this morning. So really the key thing here is, like, everyone manages work every single day, of course, and you no doubt have like a piece of paper and pen on the side, or you are using Excel, or you're using To Do, or you're using one of the myriad of other tools that are available, of course. And we use these tools and techniques because we want to understand who's working on what, when they're working on it, what I'm doing as an individual, what tasks I have, when I need to complete them, what deadlines do I have. And all of those things enable us to really hopefully work towards achieving our goals, both personally and our work goals, of course, as well. So we're using these tools and techniques, and we're going to come to some of these tools in a bit, obviously, as well. But where does this work need to be managed? So, individually, we want to understand what's going on. So for me, I use Microsoft To Do for a lot of the individual tasks that I need to have. With my team, I use Planner on occasion. But when I'm actually running projects, or when CPS is running projects, then we're using Project for the Web and Project Online, in fact, as well, although we're concentrating on Project for the Web today. And of course, the whole reason is that as an organization at CPS, we need to be moving forward in one direction together and understanding what we're all working on. So that's why, as in my area, I look after the commercial side of things at CPS. I work with them across the business. So I'm working with our marketing teams to understand what they're doing with our go-to-market. I build out propositions, so they're one of my customers in terms of giving them that data. And then the sales teams, they're using Dynamics 365. That's their work management solution. So how we manage our work is really going to be specifically down to the individuals and the organization and the type of projects that we're managing. So perhaps not one size fits all. And I know, if a lot of the time I talk to customers and they've been using Planner, for example, it's a great tool. One of the problems with Planner, though, is it doesn't have kind of all the reporting built in. It doesn't tell you who's working on what, when, and where, and what amount of effort they're spending. There's no dependencies, for example, between those activities or tasks. So again, that's where we often see customers who are looking at moving along the maturity model around planning and scheduling and managing their work. They are looking towards Project for the Web, and of course, there's a number of different tools that people can actually use. So obviously, we're managing that work across our individuals, our teams, and also obviously for our individuals. And there's any number of reasons why we actually want to do that, and we've spoken about that. But the key thing here is that we want that singular pane of glass, so we really understand what is going on within our organization, so we can better manage people, our money, our time to market, our time to money, as some people say as well. But it's really giving us that visibility. And we'll often see, and the next slide really demonstrates this, we'll often see tools that are being used, like OneNote, for example, Excel, and PowerPoint. And these all have their place, but things like Excel, even with the ability for them to be opened and edited by multiple people at the same time, it doesn't have the capabilities that Project for the Web has around things like scheduling, dependency management, resource management, and what have you. And often I will hear people saying, yeah, but it's much easier. And actually, spending a bit of time with people, showing them how to use these tools correctly within a process will, yes, it takes a bit of time at the beginning, but it will certainly save you a lot of time afterwards. So really, really, one of the things to consider when looking at moving along the maturity model for how you manage your work is you think these things are simple, doing it in Excel. Are they really? Because actually, when you come to consolidate data, you've got to use, people have their own Excel spreadsheets, they move them around, they change them, and then when you want to report them in PowerPoint, you then have to manually pull the data out. And what we're going to look at shortly is how actually we can really simplify a lot of that ways of working so that you gain access to the data minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, rather than waiting for someone to go and create that report for you, of course. So there's plenty of benefits around why you will have or be looking at a connected work management solution. So, we spoke about the single pane of glass, that ability to see everything that's going on in one place. I just spoke about the fact that we can automate the reporting. We're not having to manually pull it together out of Excel spreadsheets. Individuals can see all of their tasks in one place. We get a great way of collaborating on all of the other information around a project. Yeah, so we talk around tasks and schedules and dependencies and costs and resources, but obviously that's only one part of a project. If I think about a project all up, then we're also going to be talking around all the documents and all the artifacts that are associated with those projects. So how can we use the likes of Teams to create that and have that in one place, of course. We often kind of talk about document management separately from collaboration, but to me they're all the same thing. And maybe you want to start collecting actual hours that people are working, or better understand how much time they've actually spent on those tasks. So again, there are options for that. And I think the key one for me is the fact that if we can have these repeatable ways of working, these repeatable processes, then everybody can more easily understand the information because it's the same week on week. They can understand the changes that are happening over time. And again, back to that single version of the truth, they can understand, okay, I can now see across the 30, 40, 100, 2,000 projects that we're running, how busy Bob is, or how busy Sue is, or how busy this particular team is. Whereas if you're doing that in Excel spreadsheets or just in Planner, for example, then that's a lot more difficult. So again, it's about having repeatable ways of working and a scalable solution that's really going to deliver something for you. So in Microsoft 365, there are a number of different tools, and I've touched on these obviously. We've got things like To Do, which is free and available for you. And in fact, you don't even need to have Microsoft 365 for that. You can download that from the App Store. We've got Planner, which plenty of people are using, and it's a great introduction to a more structured way of collecting your work. Obviously, something like 270 million daily active users of Teams nowadays. So we have that. And so you can utilize that capability as an entry point for your projects. We have Project for the Web for simple, straightforward planning. If you are in a more agile way development, I would say, then you can look at Azure DevOps and Azure Boards. Project Online gives you the classic project desktop with a central repository, all of all your projects and of all of your resources. And again, there are ways you can work between Project for the Web and Project Online by bridging that with the likes of Power BI. And Project Operations, which is a Dynamics 365 capability. Really, use case for that is very much around professional services type organizations. So it has timesheets built in, has a bunch of financial capabilities as well. So, but financial capabilities such as billing, invoicing, purchase orders, all of the kind of stuff that you might already have in other systems. So Today we're going to concentrate really a little bit on Teams, but majorly on Project for the Web and Power BI, and we'll be looking how we do that again with Power Apps as well to extend Project for the Web. So we've got a suite of capabilities we're going to look at. In terms of licenses, today we're looking at Project Plan 1, 3, and 5. So Project Plan 1 will give you Project for the Web. So will Plan 3 and 5, but Plans 3 and 5 also give you some extra capabilities like the ability to use the roadmap capability and some of the administration. So you'll need a mixture of those. We've also got Power BI Pro here, which is included in Microsoft's E5 license if you have that. One thing to note is that if you have a Microsoft E1, E3, or E5 plan, you can also view the Project for the Web plans without the need to have a license. So there are some benefits in that direction. So a number of areas that we are actually going to look at today. So, in terms of Project for the Web, you're going to see how super simple it is to utilize. We're going to see how it's been extended with Power Apps as well. So Project for the Web is built on the Power App platform. Again, that's part of Dynamics 365 as well. So you have this kind of coming together of the Microsoft clouds to really benefit you as an end user and really make this a very extensible solution. We're going to look at Teams very briefly, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I think most of you know how that works. And then obviously we're going to look at Power BI. So how can we look at the different types of reports that are available to us, various different kind of RAID reporting, dashboards, that side of life. So that brings me to the end of the slide kind of parts. So if you bear with me a moment, I'm just going to make sure I get to the right place and then share the correct screen. So let's have a look at that. I want to show this screen. There we go. Okay, let's move that out of the way. Okay. So what I'm in here is when you get Project for the Web, it comes with some ability to use Power Apps. You can have up to 5 areas that you can add things like project requests, programs, projects, resources, and we'll look at reports as well. And this is using Microsoft Solution Starter for Project for the Web. So again, it's something that CPS can help organizations get up and running with. We have fixed price work packages to kind of kickstart you with this and enable you to utilize it. So we'll talk about the next steps towards the end. Main thing here is that out of the Solution Starter comes with a number of kind of views and reports. Here's my home dashboard. I can see, I'm not going to repeat all of this, you can read it, but here's my active project requests. Let's look at projects by financials. And if I wanted to, I can kind of drill into this and see a bit more information about it, make it that much bigger, obviously. So you've got all of these great kind of capabilities. And if I want to, I could then go, okay, well, actually, show me all of these particular projects. And I click, and it will show me all of those in that particular area. So that would be the IT projects. If I click on here, it will show me product development projects. And then if I click in the orange, it's going to show me the operations projects. So, very interactive way of working there. So that's my home page, and I can have different kind of views, of course. One of the other areas here is this ability to actually go and create, project requests. So many of you will have like a front door, perhaps, for projects or work. And again, it comes back to what we mean by what a project is. For me, the definition of a project is, we're going to deliver something, it has a defined start and end date. That's really the simplest way to think about it. So whether you are in marketing or IT or anywhere in the business, I'm pretty certain that you're running projects, even though you may not call them projects, of course. And that again is one of the things people will often say, oh, we don't do projects. And it's like, well, you do, you just maybe don't want to think about it as a project. So you can have project requests, and that gives you a way for you to actually go, oh, let's have a look at a project request. So there's one for a collaboration portal. I get forms that I can fill in. So this is called collaboration portal. It's in review. So again, we can have pick fields and free text and the like, as you'd expect. It's got a priority value. What type of project is it? So again, this is all configurable. And when I mean configurable, I mean it's the type of thing where someone with some understanding of both your process and the technology can come and configure this. You don't need development skills. And then you can put in a narrative. Why would we do this? So you can say, okay, well, I want to do the collaboration portal because of X, Y, and Z. And then again, you can put prioritization. So what that allows someone to do, for example, is they can come in here and they can start to go, okay, what is the prioritization score for these things? Should we be doing them? And you can start to really have that kind of pipeline of ideas and works that you're going to have, of course. Then as we move down into more of the kind of project and program management side of things, here are our programs. So I've got 4 programs. And of course, a program, again, at its simplest, we are delivering a suite of change to an organization. Yeah. So, and to do that, we need to run a number of projects. So we group those into a program. Of course, we can group our projects and programs in various different ways, maybe by location or type of project. So we have that ability to sort, group, and filter the data in lots of ways. So if I look at employee UX or user experience, I can see there are 4 projects. Yeah. We can see, are they on track? 3 of them are. Any at risk? There's 1. So if I double click and drill down into this, I can see information about the employee UX program, kind of when's the program going to start and finish. So it'll have rolled that up from the earliest start of a project and the latest finish of the project. We can see it's rolling up financial information from those projects, of course. I can see a status of that particular program, so I can say if it's at risk, on track. And again, these are subjectively set. You can also have them calculated, so they are more objective, and you can have a mix of those. And I can see which projects are actually part of that. And then I could start to drill down into that as well. And we'll have a look at those particular projects in a moment. Okay, so there's my programs. And then we get to see our projects. So here's my projects. I see a list. These are my active projects. I'm actually logged in as an administrator, so I see everything. If I looked at all projects, maybe I want to group them by project status. I think these are all active. I'm going to add a different column. So you can see here, it's like super easy for people to use. I'm going to add the program field there. I could have added it previously, but I wanted to show you how easy this is. So group by program. There you go. Here's my different programs that are going on, and I start to see that information. So really very easy for people to use. And again, it's that type of view where you probably have this already, but maybe it's in Excel and you're manually creating this every so often. So I think let's drill into one of our projects. I'm going to go to my CRO customer journey. So drill into it. There we go. And here's my customer journey modeling. Now, at the top here, I've got different items that I can see about this project. So the summary, the business case, financials, we'll click into these in a moment. And on this one, we can see, right, the summary for this is, who owns this project? What program does it belong to? What business unit is it in? What state is it? Stage, create, select, plan, manage, measure, close, sorry, here. So again, you've got all of the lovely rich bits of metadata, but it's repeatable. I don't have to kind of go into an Excel spreadsheet and go and create something specific. It's all here in one place. And I put the business case together for this. So to help people here, I put why you would have a business case. Yeah, but you can see here, there's a narrative, a description, a business case, a value statement. And then again, we can see things like the prioritization. I can say, does it align to our strategic aims? Is it going to improve things like employee retention? Is it going to lower costs? So again, these are just some examples of the type of data that you can use to help you with decision making in your organization. We've got some financial data. Again, we've kept it very simple here. What's the budget? What's our forecast? What's our actual cost? Again, depending on your maturity, you could extend this. You can have more tabular type views where you break it down by months, for example. But what we find, certainly for a lot of organizations starting down and trying to be more mature, is let's keep it straightforward at the beginning, because you can change that as you go forward. What resources are working on this project? How many hours as well, based on what they've been planned to do. And then we can come to look at the tasks as well. So in here, I'm actually now embedding project for the web directly within, and I'll show you this separately afterwards, but this is project for the web. And there are actually 3 views here. You've got a grid view, so it really looks like Excel. If I just want to add a new task, I can go, okay, here's my measurement task. I think it's going to be 40 days long. When's it going to start? Well, okay, it'll start today. You know, we have that. When's it going to finish? Well, of course, and this is one of the great things about Project for the Web or project planning tools. If I say it's going to start on the 26th of April and last 40 working days, it's going to calculate the finish date for me, which is great. And then I can say who's going to do this work. So I'm going to say Grady's doing it. Yeah. And again, this information is actually coming directly from your Active Directory. So again, you're able to pull, yeah, and Grady would get a notification saying, hey, Grady, you've been given this piece of work. So they're able to see that information. If you are coming from Planner, then there is a board view as well. So again, you've got your different boards with the different kind of buckets that you can have. You can create your own bucket. So bucket 1 in progress, to do, done. Yeah. You can add your own bucket. So the classic done. And then you can start to say, okay, measure is in progress. Yeah. So we started to do that. And maybe I want to add a label. So again, nowadays you can have all these kind of labels in here. So something that's relatively new to Project for the Web. I'm going to say it's light green, but actually I say it's light green. I can actually edit that label and say on track. So now what I can do is I can have I can use these labels to help me kind of put information against each of my tasks as well. So, we have that information. I, again, assign the task, copy a link to the task. So I can copy that link to a task. I am someone with it and say, hey, look at this task perhaps. So we have that ability. And then, of course, and here's my labels. So what different labels do we have? We can see all of those. Where's my bright green one? There we go, on track. And there's my measure task. So super useful. And then your classic timeline view. Yeah. So I've got my Gantt chart. I can zoom in to see more or less of it. There we can say, okay, well, actually, I'm not going to measure my task. I'm not going to start measuring that project until it's finished when we've done the schedule integration. And then we'll do our measurement afterwards, for example. Here's my milestones. I can create my dependencies. And of course, we can see the impact of change. If this task becomes longer, everything starts to slip to the right. So one of the great things around Project for the Web is if you're coming from Planner, you can continue to work in that kind of way in a kind of board perspective. But you can start to, add resources, start to understand what they're working on, and then obviously get that timeline type or that timeline view. So we'll come back to a Project for the Web shortly, but you can see how simple that is. I don't believe it's complicated. It's the type of thing where we often work with individuals on a one-to-one basis, of course, or in small groups, and give them some training in that. Now, the other thing that we do with customers around this is you can build out templates. So it's back to that repeatable way of working. In this quick start guide or view, we also have risks and issues and changes. So if we here, I could, if we had a risk, maybe we've got a problem with model adoption, I can drill into that. Here we go, model adoption, who owns it? I could assign it to someone. So maybe assign it to, I think Megan's in here, is she? Yeah, there we go. I'm going to assign it to Megan. What category is it? It's a problem with scope. When's it due? So I could put a kind of date in there. So again, you capture all of your risks. And many of you maybe capture risks and issues and changes again in Excel spreadsheets or task lists or SharePoint online lists. Whereas by having it within this Power App project, we can have everything in one place. And again, we get, what's going on with this risk, put the narrative around description and mitigation plan, contingency plans, but it is all configurable. So, based on your terminology and your values, then again, that can be updated. So if I take a step back, again, I won't show you, issues are the same, changes very similar. And what's the status of our project as well? So we can build out that. And, I can add a new status report because obviously the status is going to change kind of every week. So I come in here, status for 25th of the 4th. Yeah. I put in the reporting date, actually, there we go. Who's submitting it? I'll say I'm pretending to be Megan. Yeah, again, this can be automated. Who am I submitting it to? I think, what's it say for me? Oh yeah, I do the mod administrator, that's who I am. There we go. What have we done? What are our planned activities? Any additional comments? And you can save and close that, and then you've got that kind of, look, here's my status reports. So you start to see the status of the projects over time. It's great, yeah? And if I want to know what's going on with the project, I can come in here. I know where all the reports are. And again, we can even, like I said, this can be connected to our teams. So we could have our team, and then we can have all our files here. We can have our posts. We can um, see the project in here and know exactly what's going on, and make sure that we have that kind of one singular kind of entry point, of course. So what we've seen there is the fact that we have, a great way for us to see all of our projects in one place. Yeah, we can, again, depending on security and access controls, we can create a new project, and then we can put a business case together, capture some financials, say who's going to work on it, build out our task list. Yeah, whether that's through a kind of boards type view or an Excel type view, or Gantt charts as well, capture our risks and issues and everything. And that's all actually in one place, which is fantastic. So super, super simple and easy to use. And of course, once we've got that, we then have all our reports. And again, we can embed Power BI into here. So all of my reports are there. So I can see, here's my, again, if we have a look at the bottom, let's make that smaller. Here's my request dashboard. So I can see what requests have come through. I've got a little priority matrix. I'm sure many of you are using Power BI nowadays, so you can use all those really great features to create dashboards. Obviously, these are reports as well. And then we start to see that. Now, again, these are examples of the accelerator pack. There are 22. I'm not going to go through all of that projects or reports, should I say, but we can see things like how are things going. Are we on track? Are we not on track? How's our portfolio dashboard? Okay, we've got 15 projects, but maybe actually I just want to look at employee UX. Okay, so drill into that. 4 projects, 2,725 hours. What are we doing? What's the progress look like? How many tasks we got? How many are overdue? What are late? Future and completed. So that really great way of being able to see the information that we need to understand, and have that available to us. These can refresh once a day, once an hour, kind of however you choose to do that, of course. And as we continue down, maybe I want to see all of my risks. So I get to see all of my risks in here. Of course, I've got 3 open risks. We've got very simple risk matrix, so probability times impact, give my exposure score, of course, as well. And again, all the filtering that you may wish to have available to you. Then we can start to see our status reports that we have in place. How are they going? But again, how busy are our people? So again, lots of the type of data, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons we see people move to Project for the Web and Project from Planner, is that they really need to start having access to metrics. So you can measure what you're doing, you can plan what you're doing, and you can deal with the impact of change, of course, as well. And we start to get various different kind of timeline views that are available to us. If I wanted to just see a line per project, I can see that kind of view. If I want to drill down, I can see that. I can set colors on it. So I have all of that lovely, rich information available to me at any particular point in time. And for individuals, they can see their work, yeah, and they can see a timeline view as well, of course. So again, some of this will also begin to roll up into the my tasks that you'll see in Teams this year. So that's a really great way of being able to see that information. So what we've just looked at there is we're talking about Project for the Web. We're also talking about the Project Power App that you can use with the Solution Accelerator to get you started and capture all of that other lovely, rich information that you want to collect with your projects. I'm going to take a slight sidestep now. I want to take you to what it kind of looks like if you're just going to do it standalone without the Power App. So you go to project.microsoft.com and it will take you there. You can have multiple instances of projects. So you might want to have a project area specifically for marketing, a project area specifically for IT. So again, you can kind of separate them out in those ways. And again, we can come in here. Do I want to create a new project? I can import it from Project Desktop if I have that. I want to create a new roadmap, create a new blank project. So I have all of that. Let's have a look at a project. So what else is on this screen? These are projects that I've recently opened. These are ones that are shared with me. And these are all my projects that I actually have created, of course, as well. So if I had a look at one of my projects, I'm going to drill down into my pandemic awareness poster program. If we look at the timeline view, obviously I can zoom in and out. So exactly as you saw in the Power App, it's just that I'm looking at it kind of standalone as well. So I have the option to look at it in those various ways. Again, you've got the board views, the grid views, exactly the same. That's the great thing about Project for the Web being built on the Power platform, is the fact that it's super easy to embed it into whatever you're doing. And if I go back home, I can then go and create a roadmap. Now, a roadmap view, this is my program Uno, actually allows you to aggregate across multiple projects. So again, typical view that you might see in PowerPoint. Yeah, I mean we also create them in Power BI, of course, but this allows you to create them on your own on the fly, of course. So I've got 4 projects here: infrastructure upgrades, pandemic awareness poster, end user training refresh, and annual employee update. And I've just pulled in some of the tasks that I'm interested in looking at in here, and I can set things like the status for these particular items. So the idea here is a really simple, very quick, easy reporting kind of mechanism. It's just pulling the data from your project for the web views. It can also pull data from Azure DevOps if you want to. So again, you have that ability to aggregate the data across your systems. Should you so choose to in here? We also do that with other customers using Power BI and a number of different options. So that is project for the web kind of standalone, and that includes some ability to use roadmap, of course, as well. Sorry, includes the ability to use roadmap. Again, we'll send you some details around the licensing about that. All right, so that brings me to the end of that kind of demo-y part. If I just flip my screen now, I want to go back over here. There we go, back to my particular slide deck. See if there are any questions in a moment. We'll come back to that. Really, the next steps. So we offer various options, obviously, for deploying Project for the Web and how that can work. And we'd love to have a one-to-one conversation with you. Let's understand what it is you're looking to achieve, the outcomes you want. Work with you to understand what's the best approach that we could take. What tools do you need? Do you have processes in place already for this? Who owns it? Do you have a PMO? Or do you have like project managers who are going to work in this particular way? So we work with organizations of various different scales, 2,500, thousands, and these customers use the tools in various different ways. And we've got some 25 years that we've been going. I've been in the project space about 25 years at various different organizations, including Microsoft. So we can certainly give you a really great advice and a starting point where you can go, right, do I need to build a business case to actually get funding to do this? And again, that's one of the other things to consider. It's not just about some licenses and deploying some technology. It's like, okay, we're going to do this. What do we need to think about adoption of the processes, the ways of working, the tools, the technology, who's going to own it? So it's all of those items to consider, of course. So from me, Chris Pond, or you can christopher.pond@cps.co.uk. Do feel free to drop me an email. Find me on LinkedIn, of course, as well. If you have any questions, then feel free to put those in the question area, or if you want to follow up afterwards, that would be great, of course, as well. One of the questions that we do have, and it always comes, this is around licensing, and licensing is it's easy for me because I've done it a lot, but it's something for you to consider, of course, as well. And we'll send you some details, but the basic use that you saw today, you're going to need at least a project plan 1. Someone's going to need a project plan 3 as well to enable you to do some of the administration and setup. The Power Apps side of things with that accelerator, Microsoft include the ability for you to use that as it comes kind of out of the box. We can extend it. Again, there may be some licensing implications for the future, in terms of your use of Power Apps. So again, depends how you're doing Power Apps as well. But again, something to consider. And then, oh, hello, Kim. Nice to see you. Someone who I've worked with for a good number of years at other companies is there. Hi. The question is there a timeline for Project Online deprecation or anything like that? No, Project Online continues to run and be worked, to be available. They're not making any more investments in it, that is true. However, we are still deploying Project Online, we're deploying Project for the web, so we're deploying a mixture nowadays as well. So no, absolutely, and at CPS we run our business on Project Online and Dynamics and other things and what have you. So it's core to our business. So no, we see that continuing on for a good period of time. There's another question about Kanban boards available to you. So there's a simple Kanban board if you want to think. I think of them as task boards, but that's just because I'm being maybe a bit picky about the use of the term Kanban and what have you. In Project for the web, there are task boards, absolutely, and in fact in Project Desktop, there's been task boards for a number of years, of course, as well. Depending, Chris, on what it is that you want to do in terms of task boards and Kanban boards, it may be that Azure DevOps is more of what you're looking for. Happy to take that offline with you and talk about that in a bit more detail. But again, you can still combine that data together in terms of project timelines and Kanban / agile with a capital A ways of working. So something to consider there, Chris. Perhaps look at Azure DevOps. Perhaps you get, I think, if I recall, you can actually get 5 or 10 free users just by signing up for it directly. I'll see if I can find a link for you on that as well. So Kim and Chris, thank you very much for that. Doesn't look like I've got any other questions, and we're coming up to kind of 1:15, so I'm happy to kind of draw it to a close. Feel free to drop me an email, like I said, on here. If you have any questions, happy to answer those. And if you'd like a session, one-to-one with us at CPS, happy to do that. There's no, we're not gonna. We'd love to work with you, obviously. But if you're looking for like that kind of initial hour-long kind of consultation about, look, we're trying to do this, we'd want to do this, can you help us understand X, Y, and Z? Happy to support that as well. Oh, there was one extra question. Let's just get that in there. Andrew, would you use Power BI dashboard for a way of showing team members what they need to do each day? So at the moment you can do that. Yes, absolutely, and that's kind of how you have to do it. My understanding of it is that this year. So at the moment, if you go to if you go to Teams, there is tasks by planner and to do, and that will aggregate those tasks. My understanding of it is that this year that will also start to aggregate project tasks as well, and then that will be super powerful. So Andrew, for your question is, yes, you can do that in Power BI at the moment. In the future, you'll be able to do that directly in Teams as well. So watch this space. Can't say any, that's just my understanding. I don't think I'm giving anything away. I think it's a pretty normal thing to think that would do that. All right. It's 1:15. I'm going to call it a day. Like I said, you can contact me on those details. I wish you a great day and week, and look forward to catching up with some of you in the very near future. Thanks very much for that.